Hi, Steve here, and welcome to day 18 of my journey into crypto. And today is it's a pretty good example. It's not a super fun story, but I think it's worth me recording just so I can share it back as a good lesson learned. And I'm hoping also it provides you a working example of what you can look for. So nothing bad happened, but it was just frustrating. So here's what the topic is. I have a new type of coin that I have in my wallet. It's called AMP, and I wanted to stake it on this app called Flexa. And here's the short version. It didn't work out mainly because the gas fees were so exorbitant, it wasn't worthwhile doing. But I do go through the steps in this video to show you everything that I did. And I think that is worthwhile. So let's show how we began the journey. And that started out with Coinbase. One of the favorite things that they have there is they have this learn and earn thing. So every day if I log in, I can earn some crypto. So it's kind of fun to play around with. And today they had AMP, and you can earn $3 worth of crypto to learn about this token and how it's being used. I think there's a really good use case for this token. So that got me interested in thinking, let's go stake it and see how it works. So that was the basis of my journey today, how I got into it. So what the process is in this video, there are three things. So first of all, in staking, you're basically providing collateral and you earn money by doing that. So I'm taking this AMP and I'm giving it to somebody else to use as collateral. They're going to pay me interest. That's how you earn. So that's the basis of it. You can do a little bit different type of applications with that, but that's the real simple way to explain it. In this case, you use the AMP token. There's an app called Flexa. They have a payment service, and I'll explain a little bit more about how that works, but it's a really good use case. So that's why I was attracted to it. And I'm providing them collateral so they can help make settlement payments faster. That's the whole value proposition for them. So what needs to happen in order to do this? First of all, I need to add the AMP token. It's a custom token. I need to add that to MetaMask. So as you see here, I've already done this, but MetaMask recognizes the ETH token, and I'm going to add a custom token to it. So when I add the currency over, it knows what that token is. So there's a method for doing that, and I cover how to do that. And this is all happening on the Ethereum mainnet. So once I add the custom token, so MetaMask knows what it is, I'm going to transfer AMP from Coinbase to my wallet. And then step 3, I'm going to go over to the Flexa application, and then I'm going to go through the whole process of staking. And again, I've already mentioned this, but I go through the whole thing only to hit like this giant roadblock, which is it's not even worth it because the gas fees that they're going to charge in the form of Ethereum are prohibitive. It's just not worth it. But you'll see every step of the way and you can see how it all works. I think it's worth learning how to add a custom token to your wallet. I think it's always worth learning how to transfer assets out of a central exchange into your wallet, understanding what happens when you do that, understanding how to interpret addresses, knowing how much it costs. So you'll see that there's an actual fee for me to transfer that AMP over. So that's a frustration, but now at least I have some type of currency in my wallet on Ethereum. So I'll probably do something with that. And again, for me, the lesson here is I'm taking all the money I put into this, $100 in Coinbase, $100 in Binance, for the purpose of learning. So I'm okay if I end up with zero. I'll spend that money and gain a huge education. Then I can really start thinking when I add money for real later on, I'll know a whole bunch more about what I'm doing. I can be a little bit more decisive and non-experimental with it. So that's it. So that is the video for today, and let's get into it. Okay, so here we are in my Coinbase account, and again, the goal is to get AMP and stake it on the Flexa app. So there are 3 steps that I need to do. So first of all, because AMP is a different type of coin versus ETH in my MetaMask wallet, I have to add a custom token to my MetaMask wallet. So the way we do that is we go to the AMP organization page. So this is amptoken.org. I did my research already, so I knew where to go. I had this all ready to go, but it's pretty easy. You just click on the MetaMask icon. It's going to connect my wallet. I'll put on pause while I enter all this. gonna unlock the wallet, and it's asking me if I want to add the suggested token. And so this is really easy. We're just going to use MetaMask, and it's working with this site to do it. So we're going to add this token. You can see it's got 0 balance. And we go back to Coinbase because this is where I'm going to work with my asset and MetaMask to get my address. So I want to click on my address, copy to clipboard. And again, I'm going to be using the Ethereum mainnet here. So back over in Coinbase is where I'm going to move this asset into MetaMask. Just to get here, just click on wallet, and here I'll put in my address, which is my wallet address for MetaMask. And I'm going to move over, I sent all of it, which isn't that much, but it's about $46 in US dollars. And we'll hit continue. So what I want to examine here is I'm losing quite a bit of money through transaction fees. And again, I'm just doing this for education, so I'm okay with that. I put in about $48. It's taking about $9 out to pay for the gas fees on Ethereum. And it's listing that in the form of AMP. So 117 AMP. And anyway, that's unavoidable. It's just part of working with Ethereum. There's no Coinbase fee on this. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. And go ahead and click send. And yes, I'll do that. Okay, just put in the verification code that came over text. So now it has been sent. And so it's probably going to take a few minutes to get over there, but we'll go ahead and check that out and see how that went. So I'll just go up to MetaMask. Okay, so I've expanded the view so we can see it easier. Or in my main account, obviously I've got 0 ETH in here, but if I go to our assets, now I see all the different type of assets I have. And remember, we already added the token for AMP, and then it shows that we transferred AMP in there. So now I've accomplished part 2, which is I've got this type of currency in my wallet. So now the next step is I want to go over and use this app. And the app is called Flexa. And I learned about this, as I mentioned before, because I was able to earn some free crypto. But it's a really interesting type of app. And what AMP does is it provides collateral to secure online payments using a variety of different networks. And really what that means in everyday language is sometimes if you make an online transaction, even if you think about it in real world money, if you use your credit card to pay for something, as a consumer, that payment happens instantaneously. You go to the grocery store, you use your credit card, the grocery store marks it as they got paid, they let you leave with the groceries. That happens in 0 time, and we're all happy. In the online world in crypto, those actual payments don't happen instantaneously. So AMP is a token that is used as collateral, so those transfers can happen. They appear to happen instantly for the 2 parties. And if something doesn't go right, that collateral is used as a settlement to make things square between a transaction. But the 2 people making the transaction, the buyer and the seller, they get to handle that transaction immediately, just like the credit card example with the grocery store. So this is a really interesting example, and is necessary in decentralized applications, because otherwise, as a buyer and seller engagement, we would be waiting for that transaction to finalize. And if you recall just a moment ago, when I sent my AMP token over to my wallet, it said this may take 10 minutes. That's way too long for somebody to wait in between that settlement. So this is why AMP solves this problem with this application. So that's the theory behind it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stake AMP, and that's going to be used as a collateral. So I'm going to connect my wallet on this Flexa capacity app. So that's app.flexa.network. Let's go ahead and connect my MetaMask wallet. And yes, this is what I want to do. Now we're connecting. So here we are. We're good. So now it's in there. And I can go to Explore. And I want to use this transformer called Lightning. So there are a couple different ways. You can go into your wallet and you can stake your AMP right here through your wallet. But the other way that I'm going to do it is, instead of using these apps, I'm going to use this transformer for Lightning. And Lightning is yet another network that is handling a lot of the payment transactions between buyers and sellers. So I'm going to use Lightning, and I'm going to stake the Lightning transformer. So I'm going to go ahead and stake it. I know I can unstake it. So I'm going to use Lightning. Oh, here we go. Now we get some better examples. Earlier it had 0.0. So now I can see if I use Gemini, I get 2.36. And this is a different type of application versus Lightning. And I want to use Lightning because that's a network for actual payments. With Gemini and this one, I don't know anything about, but they're slightly different. So I'll use this one to get 5.03%. And I'm going to slide this bar to use all of my amp that I have available. Maybe I'll hold a little bit back in case I need that for transaction fees. I'm not quite sure. So I'll go ahead and hit continue. What it's doing in this example is I've got a message that says new address has been detected. Click here to add to your address book. And this is the app, and there is an actual blockchain address. So I know this is fine, and it's up here. This is my address, and this is the other address. And if you really want to know if this is okay or safe or not, you can go, this address right here is listed within the Flexa app documentation. So they are very clear about this is the address for our app. And so you can use this to validate where you're sending your currency. And that's important. So it's just getting some fluency in how to read addresses and know where to find them and validating them. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. So yes. And then I'll just save there. And so here's where we fail. I probably don't have enough ETH to cover the fee. So let's go ahead and back up. So I'm back. I'm going to totally bail on this exercise. I'm still going to record this and document it. But again, this is my frustration with doing anything on Ethereum network. So this right here is literally the gas fee to run this transaction on Ethereum. So it's not the total amount of my stake plus gas fee. This is how much Ethereum it's going to take. So what I would need to do is go back to Coinbase, transfer Ethereum over into MetaMask wallet, and it would eat up all of that I have, $49 in fees just to do the staking. So to me, it's not at all worth it, even for education. But you can do some things just to play around before you even try to commit if I did have enough fun. So this is MetaMask is saying this is the medium amount of fees. And really what this is saying is the more gas fees you pay, the higher in priority your transaction goes. So if you want to go to the highest and have it done in less than 15 seconds, it's $48. If you want to go to the lowest amount, it might take 30 seconds. You pay $47, so a little bit less. So really what you're doing is designating the priority, but there's risk. So you can also go into advanced options and put in a limit. And I don't really want to play with that, but that's where you can put this in. Now what happens is, what would happen if we said, I want to pay a tiny amount of gas? The machines on the network that are running all these transactions would probably never pick up your transaction. So I would submit the transaction and wait in a really long line. And I'm hoping that some machine out there will take it for a really low fee. But the miners are probably configured to only take transactions that are willing to pay this much in gas fee. So to me, this is a total failed experiment. I'm going to reject this. I'm going to cancel this. And what I have now is I have all this AMP in my wallet. So the one success story here, if anything, is it's yet another currency. I added a token into my wallet. I've got a currency here, but I spend $9 just to move it, which is ridiculous. So I'm going to go see what else I can do with this. Maybe I'll try to swap it, which would be my next venture. So again, I think this is a worthwhile lesson to document the journey and talk about it and really understand what you're getting into when you're starting to move funds around. And to me, this is a super good, valuable lesson for why to look at other networks versus Ethereum as a crypto network and blockchain. Look at other networks to do transactions over. So the other day, I used the Tez network to do a transaction where I purchased my first NFT, and the transaction fees on that were like fractions of a penny. So that's a good example of a type of network to use. And there are so many other networks out there besides Ethereum. So anyway, that's my lesson learned. And just another reminder that I don't want to use Ethereum mainnet to do transactions unless I'm dealing with, obviously, if you're dealing with thousands of dollars and you have a good purpose for that, then the gas fees proportionally would be a lot less. But I don't have that. I'm working with low dollar values. So I hope this helps, and I hope that you're able to learn from my expense on this. And I hope, if anything else, this gives you some motivation to just play around, give yourself the permission to fail. Don't worry too much about losing $10, $15. I put that initial $100 in. without any expectations of breaking even. It's just an investment in my education, and that's all it is. And then once I'm able to learn how to navigate, understand what really happens, then I'll put more money in, but I'll have a good base to start with in terms of education and knowledge. And then I'll actually have some purpose and drive and some reasons to do things. And then I'll care about what's happening to my money. But $100 in Coinbase, $100 in Binance, just to learn $200 for a quick accelerated learning course, I'm fine with that. So hope this helps. We'll see you next time.